Hey, good morning, guys. Good to see you again here online. We're going to talk a little bit about the innate defense system again, this non-specific defense system. And now today we're going to talk about the second line of defense. We talked about the first line yesterday, which was those mucous membranes, the skin, and different enzymes found in the secretion of those different parts. Okay. Today, we're moving into this talk about the cells and the chemicals themselves that form the second line of defense. Now, these are really cool. This is a page that's kind of an overview of all of it. Okay. So we see things like these special cells called natural killer cells. We see part of the second line of defense is like an inflammatory response, and you guys have all had the inflammatory response at some point or another in your life. Another group of special cells, phagocytes, this blue one, this one down here, kind of spreading its tentacles around invaders. Okay, this antimicrobial protein group, and finally fever. Okay, so that's kind of an overview. Let's jump right in. So you have these special cells called natural killer cells, this one right here, this one right here, and this one right over here. So these are really, really cool. They're designed to basically attach themselves to invaders, and they kind of secrete these special chemicals that end up destroying the invader, whether it's a cancer cell, whether it's a virus, whether it's a bacteria of some sort. Okay, so they secrete this chemical called perforin, which actually targets the cell membrane and causes these big, gigantic holes to be put in it. So basically, when that has no more membrane around it, the invader cannot survive. So natural killer cells are amazing. Here's kind of a general overview of the inflammatory response. So when we have, let's say, like a wound that gets full of bacteria, naturally the bacteria is going to try to invade and multiply. And this is a really cool diagram because you can read through the steps 1 through 7 in this inflammatory response. And guys, just take a look at the descriptions of what's happening where, okay? And we'll go into it here in a little bit more detail in just a moment. This is a different visual of the inflammatory response, and it's got this flow chart way of looking at things, which is really cool because it talks about the injury and how we have damage to the cells. So when your body is in this defense mode after it's been wounded, like you can see right here, there are these really cool chemicals released, kinins, histamine, other chemicals, and those chemicals go to different parts of the body and do different things. Like one group of those makes the blood vessels dilate, another one makes the capillaries become kind of leaky, separating those cells to let different things pass through. One of this group of chemicals attracts white blood cells to the area. It's kind of like a siren or an alarm, so to speak. Okay. So we keep going down the flow chart, and the results of a lot of these chemicals that have been released are going to be the redness that comes from these blood vessels dilating, the heat that comes with this increased blood flow to the area. We've talked about that a lot before. The swelling that came because the capillaries are leaking, and now we've got this tissue filled with fluid in these different spaces, and we see that swelling, and we see the activation of those nerve endings, those pain receptors that are sensing that there's a problem. And all of this is designed to lead to your protection and the process of healing. Okay, so that's the goal of the inflammatory response, is for you to get back into being healthy and homeostasis and get that wound healed. So here we go into a little bit more of the specifics of the inflammatory response. Guys, I'd encourage you to look through here, and these are really easy to follow, really easy to read, and it makes a lot of sense when we see the body's response when we have an injury or that kind of thing. Why do we want to activate white blood cells? Well, we want them to eat up the bacteria. Okay, we want to remove that invader so we can get back to being healthy. So we have these capillary walls that get, permeable, so these different cells can pass out of the blood into this area where we're needing to do some good immune work. Okay, so this is all part of that second line of defense. Okay, going a little bit more deeply into the inflammatory response, guys, take a look at this. This is amazing how these different cells and chemicals work together. So I'm going to let you kind of take a look at that and add whatever you like to your